Namaskar, good afternoon. I am Sarita from Bhaurav Devras Saraswati Vidya Mandir, Noida. Let us start today's session. Today we are going to study the lesson The Sermon at Benares from the first flight book of class 10th. And in the previous session we had a preview of this lesson. And today in this session, I am going to share the summary of the lesson. And with the help of this summary of the lesson, we can have a better understanding of the lesson. So now let's start with it. As I told you, the lesson is Sermon at Benares and it is from the book of First Flight, class 10th, and its author is Betty Benshaw. Today we are going to share the summary of this lesson. This story is all about a lady called Kisa Gautami. Kisa Gautami was a woman who was a widow. She had one son. Her son was not well. Her son was sick. She was getting medicine for her son, but unfortunately, her son was died. And when her son was died, she was crying with grief. She was going here and there. She was going door to door. And she was asking everyone, is there anyone who can help her? Who can revive her dead son? Then she met a man who knew about Gautam Buddha. He told her she can go to Shakyamuni, to whom she can go, that is Shakyamuni, and Shakyamuni Gautam Buddha can do anything for her. He can help her and her son can be revived with the help of Gautam Buddha. Then this Kisa Gautami, she went to Gautam Buddha and she told him about her reason of grief, her pain of life. Then she requested Gautam Buddha that if he can revive her son, she wants that Gautam Buddha should help her, should revive her dead son. Gautam Buddha, he was an enlightened person. He knew very well the reality of life, but he also knew the human nature. So he wanted to teach her, he wanted Kisa Gautami to know what is the reason of this grief. Then what he told? He told Kisa Gautami, you go and get a handful of mustard seeds and take care of it, that from whichever house you will get the handful of mustard seeds, that house should not have lost any loved ones in the past. Kisa Gautami, she stopped crying. She was thinking if she can go and she can get a handful of mustard seeds, then it can revive her dead son. She was going from here and to there. Kisa Gautami was trying at her level best. She was going from door to door and she was asking the help of the one handful of mustard seeds. And then she went each and every house. And everybody, whosoever listens her situation, her story of life, they wants to help her. But the moment Kisa Gautami asked the question, have they lost any of their loved ones? The answer is always yes. And then she get again sad. She becomes so unhappy. She becomes so sad. The reason behind the condition to get the handful of mustard seeds from a house where no one have died was not fulfilling at that time. She was feeling so bad. She was feeling so sad. But she didn't have any option. But she kept on going from door to door and asking for the help. And in this way, it was getting evening. And by the evening, Kisa Gautami could not get even a handful of mustard seeds. Now she was feeling so sad. But she was feeling so hopeless. She was feeling so dejected. What to do? Because her son was not alive. And without the handful of mustard seeds, her son cannot be revived. She knew nothing, just she was crying and crying. She was feeling so much of pain and grief. Then what happened? Suddenly it was evening, it was about to get dark. And then she was sitting on the roadside and she was crying. She was just trying to understand what she can do, but she was not getting any way to do anything. What to do? Then suddenly what she saw, because it was night time. So what she saw, there was the flickering lights in the city. And what was happening? The lights were going off and on and off and on, again and again. And this flickering of lights was creating, one time it was creating light, brightness, and another time it was creating darkness. She kept on observing those lights, flickering lights, and then suddenly she realized what Gautam Buddha wants to teach her, what Gautam Buddha wants to learn her about life. And that was really quite a painful thing, situation she was in. But in the midst of those grief moments, she was about to realize the reality of life. And she was just thinking what, because at that time she was all alone. She didn't have a husband, her son was died, she was all alone. She was desolated from the society, and she was just thinking what, she was thinking about her life situation. And when she saw those lights, she suddenly realized that what Gautam Buddha wants to teach her, what Gautam Buddha wants her to realize, that was the most important lesson of her life. And the lesson was that she should know that human beings are mortals. One who has taken birth have to die one day, and we have to surrender ourselves. We have to surrender our will against to the will of God. We cannot question the will of God. We have to surrender. We have to understand this. And now she was remembering all those things she have learned in the past. Buddha in his sermon have preached that grief and pain are both part and parcel of human life. No human being is without pain and suffering in their lives. Everyone has to go through grief and pain. Only they can have something to gain. Only then they can have something happy in their lives. Everyone has to go through. It means nothing comes easy. One has to go through the steps of easiness and sometimes difficult times. Difficulties and ill comforts are the part and parcel of our life. We have to go through the both channels of grief and happiness in our life. And we all the time, one who has taken birth is all the time in the danger of death. It means death is the ultimate truth of our life. So whosoever have taken birth have to die one day. Whosoever have come on this planet earth have to leave this planet, have to go away from this planet. Everyone has to face the death. Everyone has to face the death of their loved ones. We cannot stop it. We cannot avoid it. Why we cannot avoid it? Because it's a law of nature. Whosoever have taken birth have to die one day. After spending their own lifespan, they have to go away. They have to leave this planet Earth. That's what Gautam Buddha wanted to teach this woman, Kisa Gautami. And she was just realizing this truth of life with an example. In this lesson, we have seen Gautam Buddha have given an example. Like we have seen all earthen pots. Earthen pots are very beautiful, but made with a much hard work. But still, like a earthen pot, it's very delicate. If we leaves it, if by chance it leaves from our hands, it will broken. In the same way, human beings are like that. We are like the earthen vessels. And one more thing was coming in the mind of Kisa Gautami is like a fruit, when the fruit is ripened, it's fall itself on the earth. In the same way, when the human beings have gone through all the stages of the human growth and development, after old age, they have to go through this channel of death. They have to face their death. So all these things were coming in the mind of this Kisa Gautami. And what she was realizing, like if this is the reality of life, that we have to die one day. Everyone has to live till the time they have their lifespan. And if we accept it, it's a matter of acceptance. If we accept it, it's a reality of life. If we accept the reality, then we can remain happy. It doesn't mean that if we know that we're going to die, then we have to cry all the time. No, we need not to cry. Why we need not to cry? Because life will be ended one day. It will be finished one day. Even I will face my death one day. But it doesn't mean that I will stop living today. I have to live my life to the fullest. Everyone has to live their life fullest. We have to do whatever is good. We should not think of the death. We should think of the life. And all the pains, all the sorrows and griefs are the part and parcel of our life. We cannot avoid it. We cannot avoid the death of our loved ones. Once whosoever have taken birth have to die one day. Whosoever is going through pain and suffering and grief right now will have good time later. But the time have to go on. The time keep on moving. Time is not static kind of thing. This is all what we need to understand. We need to understand that we have to die one day and we cannot escape from our death. To summarize, this is what? Like we have to overcome our sorrows. In our life, we have to face the end of our life, that is death. We cannot stop anyone's death. Everyone have to die one day. I cannot stop my loved ones from dying. No one can escape the death. So here now let me summarize the story of the lesson. The summary of the lesson, like not summary, we can say the gist of the lesson is Gautam Buddha, with the help of Kisa Gautami, we know the reality of life. Gautam Buddha wants to preach Kisa Gautami about the reality, the ultimate truth of life. One whosoever have taken birth will die one day. Grief, sorrows, pains are the part and parcel of our life. We cannot avoid it. No one can escape from their death. No one can let their loved ones escape from death. So, let's accept the reality of life. Let's mend our ways of behavior. Let's mend our way of living so that we can live till the time we are alive on this earth. We can live a good life. Quality of life is not counted by the years we live. The quality of life is counted by the years we live blissfully. It means we need to put our efforts to live a blissful life. If we are living a blissful life, that is all dependent on our behavior and our karmas. And no one can escape from it. This is what Gautam Buddha is trying to teach through this lesson, that death is the ultimate truth of our life. And just like earthen vessels, just like ripened fruits, they have their end. In the same way, we have our own life of span. And we have to understand this. So now here the lesson is finished. The summary of this lesson is finished. And I hope you might have understood the lesson. So let's meet with a new lesson in the new session. Thank you and have a nice day. Keep watching video. Thank you and have a nice day.